Hi there, and welcome to this quick demonstration video where I'm going to show you how you can use this Google Slides to make a stop motion animation for this specific assignment, showing the trajectory of the sun through the seasons and the changes it makes in shadows on the ground. So this first slide is your reference. You can see that it shows the different trajectories of the sun as it moves through the sky, being lowest in winter, sort of in the middle in both autumn and spring, and highest in the summer. And the corresponding changes to shadows in winter, the shadows appear long. In autumn and spring, they are somewhat in the middle, and in summer, the shadows appear the shortest. All right, so here are the quick steps that you're going to use to complete this assignment if you choose to use the Google Slides. You can see in this picture, the suns have been taken out and the shadows have been taken out as well. But you do have some different elements here on the side that you can use along with the instructions. So let's start here with the instructions. Make a copy of this slide and move the sun along its trajectory. Adjust the shadow to show how it changes over the course of each day and each season. So the key with stop motion animation is we don't want to make too big of a movement each time. We want to keep things pretty small to make our animation smoother. So I'm going to end up making lots of copies of the slide. But first, I think I'll start with winter. So I'm going to move the label for winter over to the spot where it belongs. And if I'm unsure, I just check back on my reference here. And then I'm going to bring my sun in. And let's start with my sun at sunrise, early in the morning. I'm going to put it right here, just barely peeking over the mountains at sunrise. Now, my shadow is already perfectly set up for that because it is appearing quite long. It's winter and early in the morning, so the shadow is going to be at its very longest. And it's on the opposite side of the object and the sun. So the sun is shining on the object this way, and this object, this post, is blocking the sunlight from hitting right here. So I have a shadow. So that will be my first slide. And then I'm going to make a copy of my slide, which I can do by clicking Edit and Duplicate, or I can just use the hotkey to make a copy of it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move my sun a little bit. So it moves up to about here. And then I have to adjust my shadow as well. So I'm going to click on this little dot here to rotate the angle a little bit, because I'm going to have to change the angle of my shadow, again, to be opposite of my sun. I think my sun looks like it's probably more about there. And that shadow is not going to be as long anymore. So I'm going to shrink it down because my sun is moving up. Okay, I'm going to make another copy and just move my sun a little bit more. And again, I'm going to adjust my shadow. It becomes shorter, and I have to adjust the angle by just turning that to make sure that it's still kind of opposite of my sun. Now I feel like my shadow would be a little bit fatter, so I'm just going to widen it up a bit there. I make a copy, and I'm just going to adjust my sun a little bit more. Let's put it in the middle here. Now you probably don't want to move yours this much. It's going to be quite choppy animation if I do it this way, but if my sun is right in the middle, I want my shadow to be right there, directly opposite. And it has to be a bit shorter. But it's still going to be the longest that it is at midday because it's winter. When I do my summer sun way up here, I'm going to have almost no shadow. Oops, I'm moving it, not adjusting it. I'm going to have almost no shadow because it is the shortest shadow at that time of year. So it's going to be shorter. And again, it's going to be directly opposite the sun. So I just want to take all of those steps for my winter sun, moving it along its trajectory, copy, 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 and then I will adjust to get rid of my winter label, and I'll move my sun to the spring and autumn position and drag that label out there and do the same thing, moving the sun along its trajectory and adjusting the shadow as I go. And then I will finally do the same thing for summer, put the correct label, move the sun, adjust the shadow. And for each little adjustment I make, I'm duplicating my slide again and again and again, so that when I'm all finished and I play the slideshow, it makes a really cool animation effect.